guys need a new daily driver? Well, we got you covered. LSNasty.com. We're giving away this 650 horsepower turbo LS Swap Colorado. It's a 5-speed manual. You need it in your driveway. It's 10 times entries. LSNasty.com. Bunch of brand new merchandise. Winter collection is up there. Hats, shirts, stickers, socks, you name it, we got it. Check it out. You cannot win unless you're entered. All right, guys, we're going head mount today. We have 7 days. Oh my God, would you look at that? Would you look at that? I can't get distracted. We have 7 days to get to PRI. There's your date, December 4th. We have to be there. Before we go any further in today's video, out here we have, I left it outside last night, we have our 650 horsepower turbo Colorado. You guys can win that, lsnasty.com. Go over there. Every $1 you spend is 10 entries to win. Here we are. We are working on this bad boy for literally the next 7 days. I ordered some stuff last night to build a fuel tank. We're just gonna build one from scratch. We have a plasma table that I don't know how to use, but we have a bunch of different cutting tools. So we'll cut our aluminum. We got a brake so we can bend it, and we have a welder so we can weld it so we can make our own fuel tank. We'll have to make a brace and stand it and everything like that. This is everything I ordered up for the fuel tank. Aluminum sheet, the guys are picking that up right now from metal supermarkets. 20 AN female weld bung, a 12 AN female weld bung, a 10 AN female weld bung, a fuel cap, which is on this tank, and then some standoffs like this, like that, to weld. We got our fuel pump. I ordered some stuff from RBS Superchargers, I believe is the company. Yeah, got that stuff ordered up. Let's go over here. We'll talk about Slick Rick's fuel system because we're gonna try to like map them similarly because they're gonna make similar power. So this is fun. We're having fun, right? All right, sheep. We are going to order some fuel fittings from Brown & Miller because we do have a bunch here, but as you can see, these are more specific fittings. These take away the adapter fitting. So they're pretty cool because like this is a dash 16, but it's a dash 16 crimp on this side, and then it is a male O-ring swivel fitting on this side. So normally you'd put like a O-ring fitting here with a male on this side. So it'd be male O-ring, male dash 16, and then you'd run your dash 16 female swivel up to it, so you have that extra fitting. So by running the Brown & Miller stuff, you are able to eliminate a lot of that stuff. So let's talk about fuel system and what we got going on. Here's our fuel tank. It's like a 9-gallon fuel tank. We're gonna go with a 10-gallon fuel tank on that just because it's probably going to run a little bit more inefficient and run a little bit fatter, consume more fuel. If you get burnt down, we might only burn 5, 6, 7 gallons. You don't want to be running out of fuel at the finish line or anything like that. We are going to go from tank to pump, as you can see here, from pump to filter, from filter to rail, rail to regulator, regulator back to fuel tank. So that is our fuel system. First thing that we need, right? So we're going to write down here Brown & Miller, B and M. We're just gonna do it like a complete system from the tank, like I said, to the pump, from the pump to the rail. On the black sheep, it'll have 2 fuel rails. I'm trying to figure out what our fuel rail size is. Patrick Miller and Jeff Miller have it right now, and they're converting it over to EFI. So I need to figure out if it's like a dash 12 or dash 16 rail, and then we're gonna tee up to the top rail, loop back around. They will both go into the regulator, and then from the regulator, they will then return back to the tank. I like to mount the regulator close to the tank or on the tank, but I think for the black sheep, we're gonna mount it to the motor plate. That way we have both fuel lines going down into it and then one going to the tank. So let's get started. We're going to need we need a dash 20 male O-ring. That is going to be from the tank. To the pump, it's going to be a 20 male fitting because they bolt on with this 4-bolt flange. I don't know if you guys can see that closely. I just threw the GoPro on. I could talk while I'm doing this. So it'll be just like that. So then I need a dash 20 female. Doesn't have to be a swivel. So we'll put in parentheses non-swivel. This one's got a 12 feed with a female fitting on the pump. So this has got another one of those male O-ring 12s going to the System 1 fuel filter, but we're going to run something different. It's going to be a 16 AN male. So then we're going to need for the fuel line, we will need a 16, it'll be 16 AN 90 probably, and then a 16 AN 90 on that side most likely, because it'll probably be set up just like this. Oil system on that side, fuel system on this side. It's just going to be, the layout and the line length is going to differ because I don't know which side it's going to be. Like, I got to put the oil filter on that side because that's where the pump is. It's almost in the same exact location. But now we have a blower belt in the way. So as far as running this over to there, probably not going to happen. So we might go up to here and then loop around on that side, regulator there, and then return to the tank on this side. Because the tank's just going to be front and center. So we're going to be able to put our pickup on the tank on either side and a return on the tank on either side. So let's just say we go from here to this rail and then we have the fuel system cycle that way. So we'll go from the pump, it'll be a -16 female. All these are non-swivel. Any of the ones that are O-ring will be swivel, but the rest of them, they don't need to be swivel because we're going to crimp them here so we can get the alignment perfect. So I could probably do like a 45. This one will probably be a 45, so let's just guess. We'll go 45 degree on those, 45 degree on those. This 16 AN will be a 90. The next one will be a 90. So let's just do, well, I'm not going to start doing ×2. I'll mess all this shit up. From here, it'll go up, so it'll be a straight. So we need a 16-16 straight, female straight. So the issue now is what size the fuel rail is going to be because they sell a T-fitting. So I can do like a male O-ring T-fitting. If it is -16, it's going to be challenging. We really need to know our fuel rail size because nothing else seems to fix if it doesn't. I can do -16 and -16 male. It'd be male on 3 sides. So I can do an O-ring male on this side, -16 inlet, so it'd be straight to straight, and then going out I can run an adapter fitting which will have a -16 fitting but go down to like -8 for the top. That's going to be challenging. So I can't do any of this fuel line here until I know that fuel rail size. For the top, I know it is -8, and I'm going to need to do this dealio. So we're gonna run 2 90 degree. So we'll go top of intake will be -8 male O-ring, 90 degree fitting, -8 male O-ring, 90 degree fitting. And that'll loop us back across. And then from the top, it would probably go from here, it'd probably be like a 45 down and over. So we'll go a -8 male O-ring. I'm just writing worse as I go, 45 degree. All right, so we got a bunch of fittings ordered up to get started. We're gonna need to get our lower manifold in to really order the specific fittings that we need. But at least to go from the tank to the pump, from the pump to the fuel filter, from the fuel filter to out to the first rail, we got all that stuff. We're gonna mount our regulator over here next to our oil filter. This is all gonna be on the black sheep, so we'll go over there in a second and talk to you guys about that. And then we'll run the tank. It's just gonna be big in the center, so then we can run the return off of the rail, down the frame rail, and then boom, right into the tank. So we got some 20 O-ring fittings, 20, 16, 16, 8 for the top, and then 12 for the return. Let's go over here and talk about it. All right, are y'all ready to brainstorm? All right, so we got the tank here. Being that the pump is centered, we can literally run the sump on either side. So if we put the sump, or run it right in the center, put the sump in the center of it, so it'll go -20 up to this, to the pump. Out of the pump, it goes -16 over to the fuel filter. From the fuel filter here, it goes in, -16, it comes out, dash 16 to whatever size. I don't know the size of our lower fuel rail yet. I'm waiting to get that text message. So I can't order the fittings for that. But what's going to happen is the line's going to come out there and it's going to tee into that fuel rail, and then it will continue up to the top fuel rail, which is dash 8. So it goes dash 8, crosses at the back, dash 8, comes out here. This dash 8 will then go down to the regulator. This, let's just say it's dash 12, will go to the regulator. So you have dash 8 and dash 12 into the regulator. The bottom of the regulator is the return, which is then dash 12 down into the side of the top of the tank on here. So now your return is nowhere near your pickup, so you won't have any cavitation issues or aeration issues with the return. And that is the full system. The only thing I'm lacking is the size of the lower rail, but I got dash 20, everything feed the pump, dash 16, pump to filter.
Do you know what the upper rail is?
Dash 8. So let's just say the lower rail is dash 12. Out of the filter, it'll go 16 into the filter, 12 out of the filter to the bottom rail system to the regulator. Top rail system, it'll be 8 to the regulator. From the regulator, it'll be 12 all the way back to the tank.
Solid plan.
Does that make sense? I like having the regulator here opposed to on the tank, just because we'll have to run then a dash 12 and a dash 8 line then to the regulator. And then when you put the regulator on the tank, you can't screw it into the tank because you don't know its orientation. And then you have to run a small line.
Do we have any rubber isolators?
No, I was just going to use the hell out of some Loctite.
Probably be a good idea to get some rubber isolators.
I mean, we could just put rubber behind it, like just a sheet of rubber, just put it behind it and go. That's what we did. Well, on the fuel tank on that, it's got rubber where it mounts, and the mounting on this will be the same. We are going to have to run a bar in front of the tank, though.
You probably want to run one underneath of it too to support it.
Yeah, so
Definitely gonna need some.
I think that's enough to get us.
Big tubing than your guy.
Yeah, we're about to see our plumber, electrician, chassis engine building guy, some tube additions. So we'll get that knocked out. But yeah, does that seem like a decent plan? Any recommendation? I'm open for any recommendations at that point. This is just brainstorm.
I recommend it runs in the next 7 days.
All right, well, I'm gonna get some parts ordered up. I'm gonna edit this video, and then we're gonna build us a fuel tank. Get that mounted, get the fuel pump, fuel filter, oil pressure, or oil filter, and fuel pressure regulator. We can get all that mounted today.
Show them how wombo the tank's going to be.
Oh, well, it's going to be just like this, but a little bit shorter and wider, because we have all of this real estate that we could put the tank. And then you just want to put the sump at the bottom right there. Yeah. And then I was thinking we can build, like, we can go forward with a bar and then up, because it's got to have, I think the NHRA states you have to have a 1 1/4 inch bar
It's got a crash bar
across the front of it. But you don't want to tie the crash bar into this, do you? Would you go straight across with it?
No,
But you would just come out and build like a little.
box it.
Yeah. Okay.
If it was me, if it's me, I'd come off the bottom here and come right back over to here, and that gives you something else to mount stuff to also.
Okay. What's your thought on mounting everything to the motor plate? Your personal opinion.
I like it. We just have to make sure we do it as safely as possible, and just keep in mind that
What if I mount like a knife, like right here? So if the belt hits it, the knife cuts it in half. Like, you ever play Fruit Ninja?
yeah, exactly
that knife,
that knife would get took apart.
Sharp knife.
It'll take a rip it off.
Multiple sharp knives.
You're
Honestly,
going to have a bunch of flat tires.
yeah, I just want you to keep in mind that we got to keep stuff away from that belt, and keep in mind that when the belt breaks, okay, not if, when the belt breaks, what all is it going to tear up, and is it going to make you wreck the car?
Okay. Can we get a belt guard badass enough to prevent it from?
RCD makes a great. They make a great.
All right. So we put a badass RCD blower belt guard on there, and we should be okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
Also, I'm building the fuel tank to where you can slide a belt in here without having to remove the fuel tank, because I feel like that's important.
It's extremely important.